All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another delicious and nutritious episode of Silicon Zombies. That's right, we got brainwaves on Pirate Cat Radio. That's at 92.9 FM, KPCR, and then 101.9 FM, KMRT, all the way in beautiful Santa Cruz. Speaking of Santa Cruz, we got all sorts of cool local legends today, and I'm really just thrilled to be hosting Anthony Aria, and of course we got Jimmy Territo in the mic as well. So wonderful to have you guys here. We're gonna have a good old fashioned get down today.
Yeah,
all sorts of good stuff.
Right,
Fabulous. So beautiful. Thank you guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Typically, we demystify emerging technology, but at the end of the day, we love telling good stories.
Raconteurs.
Raconteurs. I love that. We shall play.
Yeah.
And telling good stories today is no different. But now we got a world-class musician in the house, so that's this is a real treat.
Oh.
This is a real treat. So shout out to thank you, Jimmy.
Well, that's okay. I'm so glad that Anthony
There you go.
had the ability in his busy schedule to take time to come over and sit down with us and share his musical talents. It's really a treasure.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thanks for thinking of me, JD.
Yeah, it's okay.
Beautiful. All right. Well, guys, let's kick this thing off. I'd love to kind of maybe hear a little bit more about yourself, but we could just keep it mysterious and roll right into a song. I mean,
sure. I can kick it off.
Yeah. Or maybe tell us what happened. Just kind of ease into it. Tell us what happened at the Poorhouse Bistro.
Yeah. JD came and saw a show in San Jose at the Poorhouse Bistro just over the weekend. But yeah, I mean, for folks who, I know myself, I'm Anthony Aria. I'm an Americana rock artist. Grew up in the Bay Area, in San Francisco and Santa Cruz, and
local
yeah,
legend.
That's right.
Local legend.
And they've been playing full time for the last few years now around the Bay. But since I was 15 and I was on The Voice, and that kind of really gave me a big kickstart into the music industry. But 4 albums later, and a whole lot of hundreds of shows later too. Here I am.
And no sign of slowing down.
Yeah.
Who are some of the early? I mean, music's in your blood, right? But who are some of the early folks that got you excited? When did you first say, like, this is my thing? It's like it's a gift, right?
Yeah, I guess it was progressive. I started in the after-school rock band in elementary school on the drums, and I remember my mom kind of being like impressed that I could drum and sing at the same time. So there was little inclinations, and grew up around a lot of music. And started playing guitar when I was about 9, and started writing songs at 13. And
was wearing tie-dye.
Yeah, Santa Cruz, the Grateful Dead.
That's right.
It's strong in my blood.
My parents have seen like probably over 500 shows.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
My mom's seen quite a few as well. It's
cool.
And like I said, in Santa Cruz, Grateful Sundays, it's like it's sacred. It's religious.
Yeah.
You played here too.
And I played in Los Gatos at the Palms, just down the street here, and some summer activities around here. So just nice and easy. I guess I was not like only music growing up, but I slowly got more and more invested, and just kind of naturally became my passion.
Beautiful. Before you jump into this, and I'm not so sure your mic is working, so I'm going to swing mine around.
Okay.
Well, I want you to introduce yourself as well, Jimmy. You're a dear friend and just a wonderful human.
Did I hit the wrong button on this one? Well, thank you very much for introducing me. It's been a pleasure to be here, and it's amazing the talent that you've discovered in the time that you and I have known each other, and the treasures of the people that you've connected me to.
Beautiful.
As well as the music industry in the local area, seeing local places that filter and try to find really good bands. It's very unique and difficult to find excellent musicians. The problem is not everybody understands or knows about those people. They're not on that feed. So this wonderful talent's out there. And people need to figure out a way to get out there and listen to that talent, because live music is just amazing result. Everybody feels great when they're in a room and live music's going. It just transcends whether you're old or young. It doesn't make a difference. You feel the music. Like when somebody fires up Aretha Franklin and she starts yelling respect, I don't care what your background is, you're going to, you know what I mean? You're feeling that music. It's unbelievable, right? So that's what Anthony, when I saw this young man play, I just went, wow, move over Taylor Swift. This guy. And I'm telling you, and he's such a great, he sits down, he's
energy.
he's right from the heart. I mean, people could feel that in the audience. I mean, there wasn't a lady in that house that wasn't totally. Hey, they're all buying T-shirts. I've never seen anything like that.
That's cool.
Literally,
Wow.
literally,
You gotta
they
beat
were
'em up
all
with the
buying.
same-
They were all buying Anthony's T-shirts, and they were lining up, in front of the stage, wanting to get a group shot. It was unbelievable.
Wow.
So all I can say, I'm so glad that you made it here, because the people on the other side of this are going to find out.
Yeah.
If you haven't known and heard you, they're going to find out who you are.
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'll use my guitar mic to your mic too. So
Yeah.
I can use this.
Well, I think I got some button here.
No, yeah, you're doing great. So maybe
How's this?
just like this puppy up.
Yeah, okay,
What are we
cool.
gonna
Yeah.
What are we gonna start with?
I'll
would you
start
say?
off with a song from I just released my 4th album at the end of last year, and it was recorded live in the city, and
Wow.
It was a big step. So I'm very excited about this record, and yeah, a couple people picked them up at the poorhouse. Yeah, with
Nice. Yeah. Great.
So I'll play
Yeah.
the first single of this new record of mine. And it's called Jade. I hope the folks listening to me hear that. All right. Well, she never did too well with all those formalities. She never got used to all the lovers and their whispers. She was a city girl, never had a need for driving around. And all the boys they chased were never found. She said, let me guess 2 years, you're looking like a wise fool. Oh, I said, hold on, honey, I got another leg. She said, I got a lot of turquoise, looking for a little jade. I said, I got that stone wrapped up in the middle of my leg. Alright. Green like my name, green like my jade. Green like the color of a fine looking gaze. Red on my lips, blood through my veins. Something like the taste of a good loving way. Yeah, she didn't mind the chase. She gets her love on the road. She had a lot of flames burn out, coming back for more. She kept a couple in her pocket when the weather turned bad. And all the boys they chase what they never could have. I said, what's a little secret? Oh, you got me on my knees. Oh, she said, hang on tight, wear your luck on your sleeve. She said, I got a lot of turquoise, I'm looking for a little jade. Alright. I said, I got that stone wrapped up in the middle of my leg. Oh yeah. Green like my name, green like my jade. it's blood through my veins. Something like the taste of your love away. Green like my name, green like my jade. All my loving fade away. She tore my shirt and stole my name. She filled her pockets for a couple of days. Oh, in a couple of ways. With all of my jade. Green like my name, green like my jade. Green was the color of a fine-looking gaze. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was insane, bro.
Yeah.
Top.
Oh, thank you,
Amazing,
guys.
man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
that was just so lovely and deep and felt nostalgic and classic, but still fresh at the same time.
Oh, hey, that's the goal.
Like halfway through, you broke it down to like this, like these almost like eighth notes, you could say.
Yeah.
And there was just there's something like just so beautiful and raw, and it's like it was a journey. And you took us over to the side for a little bit, and then when you brought us back,
That's
it was
right.
just
Oh,
like
thanks.
bam, knocked it out of the park, dude.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I like I say, just I'm in awe.
Jimmy's looking at me like I told you so.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Oh,
and
thank you.
he wrote that music.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
I mean, you know, and that is an amazing song.
Yeah.
The story he just told.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to create that, and it puts so much, because you've got color, you've got emotion,
Thank you.
you've got that in that. I mean, that the jade thing.
And it's all seamless. I feel like it just it floats, but then it also just hits at all the right spots.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Man.
Recently, my friend Renee, we surf together,
Oh, cool.
she took me down to Lover's Point with a couple friends of hers. One of her friends, who's a remarkable surfer too, they call him the Dancing Bear. You know, he's a bigger fella, but when he gets on the wave, he just like. Anyways, he's also a jade diver.
Oh, wow.
And so we got to hear these amazing stories where he's like seeing great white sharks. I'm talking, this thing was like circling right next to him, and he's got footage of it.
Oh my God.
And then he
Big
showed
Sir
us.
Jade, right?
Oh
That's,
yeah. And so you probably know all about this. Like, so he showed us in his workshop what it was like to work with this jade, and it goes from being just like a beautiful piece of beautiful stone to something very polished and beautiful.
Yeah.
And our friend, who's a Canadian guy who he makes world-class maple syrup. I'm not making this up. He got to use one of these pieces, and we got to see it. And I never knew so much. There was so much beauty about jade. Like, tell us the inspiration for that.
Yeah, my middle name is Jade. So
okay.
You probably might have caught in the lyrics. Someone told me once, I got a lot of turquoise. I'm looking for a little jade.
Ooh,
And I, I'm always keeping track of little
Interesting.
lines. You know,
I like
and
that.
I wrote that line down. And I was like, oh, that's a good. And so the whole song is sort of that double entendre of Jade being my middle name and Jade being this gem that people love to rock. And
Was that a pun? Love the rock?
no pun intended actually. But yeah, and it's just become it's got that folk rock essence that really encapsulates that last album of mine, and fans that really love singing along to that song. So it's become a cornerstone.
It feels like an instant classic. That's totally good. You know, holding these pieces of jade, because they were like, some of them are huge rocks.
Wow, yeah.
And they're sometimes like, 40, 50, 60 feet down.
Wow.
So you're down there, and you got to get them out. Sometimes you got to put these I guess contraptions so it lifts it up using air.
Right.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, and then once you get it to the, but it felt so cool to the touch, and it was just beautiful, like grounded, like natural.
Right.
Like there's like some kind of weird magnetism. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, in China, jade is revered as there's a very special spiritual stone.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's a lot of, throughout the dynasties, which is thousands of years of people having this culture that, they refine that jade and which shade of jade they find.
Yeah.
A lot of the California coast they consider that California jade.
I see.
It's just a little different than what you'd find over in China.
Oh, yeah. Because they all have the kind of different transparency and flavors and intensities, opacity. Sometimes you can see through jade. It's like translucent.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had a fan and a friend, fan turned friend from New York that sent out a friend made a piece of jade and sent it out to me. Sometimes I rock it on at shows.
Yeah, how cool!
It's good mojo.
Yeah, got out of turquoise. That's
right. That's right. I always take notes of little lines. I'm like, I think that'll make a good song. So
that's beautiful.
I knew that one was going to kind of be a good one.
So I got a curveball for you. If you could collaborate with any musician, living or dead, who would it be? Bobby D.
That's
right.
JD and I were discussing the greatness, the all-time best songwriter, in my opinion.
Let me place a couple calls for you.
Yeah, exactly. Please.
Actually, Bobby, if you're listening to this,
there's no one that is. We're talking about storytelling, rapping tour.
Right.
That tells better stories, but also just that crossroads of having something to say in the social commentary of our times, but then
that's true.
Also just describing everyday things that things that we all experience, love and loss and all of these things that just become just so encapsulated perfectly in the songs that he's made. Yeah. So I'm always striving to write songs like Bob Dylan.
And to help, I feel like good songs not only pierce through and hit us emotionally, but also help us understand ourselves more too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So when was the first time, and I'm going to pass this around just so it's nice and easy for you. Well, tell us about the first time you remember listening to Bob, or maybe not necessarily Bob, but somebody when you're younger, and you're like, oh my God, this hits me in a different way. This is a core memory, something that is going to stay with me in a beautiful way.
Cool.
We're playing musical mics.
We're moving mics around,
Yeah.
So I can. Yeah, the story basically, because being raised and born in San Francisco during a time in which the 60s was coming of age, and that was my teenage years. So, everybody was very influential in our area. The real ground zero for the hip movement to kick off in San Francisco wasn't necessarily North Beach.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people that came into the Castro district before it became the Castro district, which was called Eureka Valley.
Oh, yeah.
So as kids, we'd hang out at the donut shop, coffee shop, and people started getting into, were always into music, and a lot of musicians lived in the area. And there was a lot of stuff coming up on the San Francisco scene, right? Janis Joplin, Moby Grape, all these different bands, the Great Society, which
Jefferson
became
Starship,
Jefferson Airplane. Before Jefferson Starship, right? Yeah. And so Marty Ballin and Grace Slick and all those people, they were at the forefront in '63. So, but when Bob Dylan came out, it was already a movement going that was to revolution, the it was the American Revolution of the 60s.
Wow. Yeah.
Everybody wanted to get rid of the 50s because that was the Eisenhower era. Everybody was straight. Everybody wanted to release and change up. So the coffee houses in New York precipitated this music scene that came to San Francisco, and also a freedom of speech movement that started. So all of a sudden, Bob Dylan came on the scene because the freedom of speech movement that started in Berkeley with Mario Savio, that was where telling a story about politicians all are phony, as the song is written, right? Bob Dylan is telling you something like that, right? He's telling you about life and what's going on in society, and he's wrapped it around a song and lyrics. He's delivering a message to you, and we got that message, and that was just unbelievable. I knew everything about Bob Dylan and his album when I was like 13 years old. Right?
Wow.
Yeah, don't need a weatherman to know which way the wind blows.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
I love that history too of like from New York to San Francisco, like how from the coffee houses of Greenwich Village to San Francisco, because it seemed like it was like Summer of Love, like 68, 69, with the California Dreamin', Mamas and the Papas, and like it just seemed like there was a certain inclination that everyone was like, all right, time to go out west. You know? It was a special time.
Manifest Destiny with kind of a new spin on it.
Yeah, and my first album, I called it Going to California for a reason, because I loved reading all the stories about Route 66 and all the people coming out to chase the early frontier.
I thought it might have been a nod to Zeppelin.
Well, I love that song.
Okay.
I love that Zeppelin, the whole album, Led Zeppelin 4. But yeah, I mean, the title track of my first album was inspired by those stories, and then then you had another generation of 49ers coming out for the gold, and then you had the Okies in the early 20th century. Willie Guthrie wrote about them and joined it, and then you had the whole hippie movement, that the counterculture that DAG was talking about. So when I went out to do The Voice in LA, and all these people were coming to Los Angeles to be on the show, I sort of had this moment of like, there's another generation too, and it keeps going on and on. And people coming to California.
Man, they're passing the torch to you, man.
Yeah,
and it's burning mighty bright.
JD,
I love how you mentioned it came from the coffee shops in New York, because like this has happened throughout history. Back when coffee first came out, they were drinking it in Europe,
right?
And people were getting some crazy ideas about the power of the king, and he's like no more. I think this was King George VIII or something like that. The third.
During the American Revolution, or
no, way back before, right?
So
when coffee came out, he's like no more coffee houses, because you guys are getting all hyped up on caffeine, kind of with crazy ideas.
Yeah,
that ended up leading to the Magna Carta.
Yeah.
Which like limited power of the king.
Right.
So it's almost like there's this rich history.
Right.
And I love how you guys mentioned, the context of what's happening from a socioeconomic and political perspective of early America, because it does kind of set the scene,
right,
for really just all sorts of a lot of flourishing and fighting against the establishment and what has been.
Yeah. Well, to me, the American history song of life is Fire on the Mountain by Marshall Tucker, right? Because what they're talking about is a guy leaving his Carolina home and getting in a wagon with his wife and kids and coming out west. And the fire on the mountain was the dynamite blowing up the hills for everybody hunting for gold.
Really?
And everybody had a claim, and the claims were phony. And people were killing each other over this stuff. And guys were buying bigger guns. And the guy would become a famous gunfighter because he had a certain 44 Magnum gun, and so there was a whole scene. And on the evening after they said they worked from 5 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock at night, just to scratch enough gold out of the ground, to go to the bar and hook up with the girls, the dance hall girls, the dance hall girls were the evening treat, as the song says, right?
Okay.
So, it's an amazing story that was told.
That's great.
That's American history.
Look, thank you so much for tying that in. Like when you hear Fire on the Mountain, what comes to mind for you?
Well, I thought when you first mentioned the song Grateful Dead.
Yeah.
But yeah, my Marshall Tucker.
Yeah.
That's another great song of the same name. But I think, yeah, I know exactly. That's
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting because I don't know the origins of the Grateful Dead song from now, but that Marshall Tucker tune, yeah. I mean, you know,
Right.
then you think about Neil Young after the Gold Rush, you know, that whole
Yeah.
Western chase.
Well, you know, the mountain for much of the Grateful Dead was Mount Tamalpais because everybody
Right.
was in Marin, right?
Right.
So,
And Big Brother.
yeah, Big Brother. Yeah, Janis Joplin lived across the street from me right before she passed when I lived in Noe Valley.
No
Yeah,
way.
yeah,
Wow.
on 22nd and Noe. Yeah,
Wow.
she'd have her porch parked out in front.
Oh, the
paisley
356.
covered,
I
right?
thought she would have
Wow.
gone in a
Right. She'd hop in. and-
Mercedes Benz.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she had the limo.
But she had that song. She's like, "Lord, won't you buy me a Mercedes Benz?"
Yeah.
My friends all drive Porsches. I must make emails.
Wow.
Wow, what a cool
What a great song. Then.
Yeah.
She had it. That was a great story she was telling.
Wow.
You know what's crazy too to me is so we're just doing a time check here. We want to do a station ID in just a quick minute, but
Sure.
before we get there,
Right.
You know, it's crazy that art, music, people, politics, like it all just kind of get wrapped together and everything's connected.
Yeah.
It's like one of my favorite authors, Jack Kerouac, who used to write just down the road on North Santa Cruz here. Like he would just drink and his typewriter, the black cat, which is like maybe 2 minute walk from here.
Yeah.
I love Jack Kerouac.
So like his style of writing is very, you know, there's not much punctuation. It's very effervescent. It's very stream of consciousness. And how he got that was by being inspired by the jazz guys back in like the late 40s, 50s.
Right.
And you know what's crazy is like these jazz guys, they weren't playing any cheap music. They were just feeling it. They were vibing. They were riffing. And actually, these guys would take some different barbiturates, and sorry, not barbiturates, uppers.
Yeah,
they would take like while they're playing.
Right.
And that inspired the music, inspired the writing. So it's all like interconnected. Because I mean, obviously, Jack Kerouac had like huge impact as well.
There's a great album. It's Steve Allen, great jazz pianist, and Jack Kerouac, and he's like reading his poetry out under Steve Allen's just sort of improv, and it's incredible.
Wow.
And also it's poetry about San Francisco, and
really?
And it's called Under the Railroad Earth, I think. But yeah,
Railroad Earth is also a local jam band.
Oh,
I don't know if they're local, but I know that they're good folks. You know, speaking of San Francisco and kind of tying it all in together, there's I made this piece. You've ever heard of a fellow named Tony Lindsay? He's the
Absolutely.
I know you know Tony. You probably met Tony before.
Well, he's going to be in Friday night. He'll be playing at the Courthouse Bistro.
Wow.
Yeah, with Jeff Tremolier, former guitar player for Tower of Power, and the Starship. Right.
Cool.
Yeah, they're a great combination. You might see one of the guys from Tower of Power, i.e., maybe the sax, show up just because it's fun, right?
Yeah. So if you're just tuning in, you're listening to Silicon Zombies Brainwaves on KPCR 92.9 Los Gatos, 101.9 FM at K Martin in Santa Cruz. And remember, we're having fun, we're jamming, we're telling stories, and I just feel so lucky to have you guys here. I do want to do a quick shout out for the Frosty Frequency fundraiser. It's a lot of F words. And so if you'd like to support community radio, check out donate.kpcr.org and kick us a couple bucks. It'd be much appreciated. Thank you. So Tony Lindsay is a friend of my buddies who. Let me back up a little bit. I got these 2 tickets to the San Francisco Jazz Center a couple years ago. It's such a cool, beautiful location. Yeah. And as a thank you, I created a piece of artwork to my friend Tenny, Brazilian guy, who gave me the tickets. And then so this is the piece of art. And if you look close, there's a guy playing the stand-up bass. There's the Coit Tower. There's the Golden Gate Bridge. It's like an homage to
the Palace of Fine Arts.
Exactly.
There.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing liquid lights kind of thing.
Yeah. So my buddy Edgar, who plays the keys. Oh, you gotta meet Edgar. Edgar's so cool.
Yeah, I love it.
I've known him for like 20 years almost. Wow. This guy, and so Edgar's like, hey, we're we're dropping a track with Tony Lindsay. I was like, what? And so he's like, I really like that picture that you showed me. Can we use it for our album? And in exchange, we'll let you use this track for the intro to your show.
Oh, nice.
Done.
And that's their artist profile too.
Yeah.
Well, you know, Tony was lead singer for Carlos Santana for 3 albums.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I think 9 Emmys. No, Emmys. What am I talking? Grammys.
Yeah.
9 Grammys.
Yeah. He's the real deal. But,
Yeah.
you know, he did Frankie Beverly at Maze. He did all Frankie Beverly's work this summer at the Jazz Festival prior to losing, you know, Frankie Beverly.
Yeah.
But no one could have taken that band, Maze, and done such an incredible job that Tony Lindsay absolutely nailed it.
And it's just a world-class human. The guy's always smiling, so
Unbelievable.
positivity, you know.
So he's such a professional, incredible talent guy.
Speaking of great stories, when we're wrapping for the prep call, you mentioned, I want to say Phil Lesh, but who's the concert promoter in San Francisco?
Bill Graham.
Bill Graham.
Right.
So tell us about Bill Graham when you saw him. I think you were 8th grade.
Yeah, that was in 8th
This
grade.
man's a rebel right here. That's for sure.
So we, you know, because we have a bus system in San Francisco that you don't have like in Santa Cruz, right?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you could catch a bus and be across town or hit a streetcar. And if you knew how to deal with the system in San Francisco, you could get around town real pretty quick, right?
Yeah.
So right down the hill was the gym. Me and my friends would leave in the 8th grade, hop on the bus, and we'd be in front of the Fillmore Auditorium in about 15 minutes.
Wow.
And we go into the Fillmore, and it was like 50 cents.
Yeah.
And they had like 4 bands, and you walk in, they had this giant poster, you know, Make Love Not War, and they had, you know, all the live people, and I see the Great Society, and this girl comes out, you know, Grace Slick.
Yeah, that was her first group.
Like when she first, you know, this is her first, she's a baby.
Yeah.
But she was gorgeous, right? An unbelievable voice.
Yeah.
I just said, wow, this is amazing. I want to do this every night.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, you guys are supposed to be playing basketball. You're bending the rules.
That's right. Yeah. Then we'd hop back on the, you know, with the bus. But hey, you could spend like an hour, 2 hours, and I just come home by 11, right?
Right.
You know,
That's
and
amazing.
come on, and you know, I'm 14 years old. Like, you know.
Yeah, you're a young man by that point. You got to go see the world. Speaking of seeing the world,
yes.
Tell us what's it like to tour? What's it like to put out an album?
Well, to be frank, I haven't really toured widely yet. That's a big goal of mine. My second album's called The Road, partly because of Jack Kerouac, partly because I want to. You know, that's what I foresee a lot of my life the next soon. Hopefully at the end of this year.
Yeah.
But I have played in a lot of places. I've been fortunate enough with, you know, after The Voice, people knowing me nationally and even around the world, having some opportunities to play in amazing cities in Paris and London and in Sicily, you know. And so I've played in a lot of cool spots, but and then in the Bay Area, you know, I did 160 shows last year.
Wow.
And so, yeah.
160 shows.
I'm no mathematician. That's like 15 or 20 shows a day.
I know. I mean, and you know, it's as life as a full-time musician in the winter can be a little slower. And like last August, I did 22 shows. So, you know, they're not all steady, but
it comes in waves.
Exactly.
Right? Wow.
Yeah. The season, you know, the summer is just crazy. But yeah, I mean, still average about 3 to 4 shows a week.
Wow.
And it's a lot. And, you know, I have played expanding from San Francisco to Santa Cruz, it's outward to places like Sacramento and Healdsburg and the North Bay, down to LA. I played at the Hotel Cafe. So it's a pleasure to play my songs for people that seem to really respond to them. And you know, I'm looking forward to now starting to do some more touring outside of the West Coast. The places that I've already played.
Wow.
Yeah, I got some friends in New York. Maybe we can set something up. See a little bi-coastal.
I'd love to. I played a solo show at the Bowery Electric in the Bowery, Bowery Street there in like East Village, but I haven't brought my band there yet. So you know, it'd be a lot of fun to play again there.
So how many albums do you have?
Four albums. And then another one that's kind of in the works now, you know.
Wow.
You heard it here.
I'll play a new song and coming up when we get to it. But yeah, I'm excited about the next band.
Can you noodle something for us?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Well, we were talking about blues and we were talking about Bob Dylan, and so let me get guitar mic over here. So I thought maybe I'll do something in that vein. And, you know, we're also talking about how music and its commentary on society and its influence on the world we live in and vice versa. So yeah, I'll do a song called Some People. And I'm looking forward to this tune coming on a new album in the lyrics. Some people got a whole lot of money, some people got fame, some people got lots of love, some people got faith, some people got a long time coming, some people been made. I'm just looking for a place in the morning, somewhere to sign. I can't help it when the storm starts coming. Don't like it when the rain clouds roll in. Only thing you gotta keep on doing is get on your way. I've been thinking that it's only right that you get yours and I get mine. But ain't no funny when you look and find that the rich man come around me Some people gotta look in the eye, makes you wonder what they keep inside. Some people show you all their love, and then they find out they're the only one. Some people got freedom, yeah. Some people got the chains that they live with. Some people wanna set you free, other people wanna keep you weak. I can't help it when the storm starts coming. Don't like it when the rain clouds roll in. Only thing you gotta keep on doing is get on your way. I've been thinking that it's only right you get yours and I get mine. But ain't it funny when you look and find that the rich man come around me blind. Mama said you gotta keep on trying, even when you're at the end of the line. Some people gonna slow down, others gonna keep on climbing. Oh yeah. Some people get so hell-bent on getting something that they don't have yet. Some people get winding down. Some people working 9 to 5. Some people got a long time coming and been made, you know what? I'm just looking for a place in the morning, somewhere to sign to be paid. Can't help it when the storm starts coming. You don't like it when the rain clouds roll in. Find comfort when you're down and busted. Find your way. I've been thinking that it's only right you get yours and I get mine. But ain't no funny when you look and find that the rich man come around me blind. My mama said you gotta keep on trying, even when you're at the end of the line. Some people gonna slow down, others gonna keep on climbing. Some people gonna slow down, others gonna keep on climbing. Oh yeah.
All right.
Hey.
Thank you. Yeah.
Man, that makes you feel it there.
Thank you so much.
The music, right?
Yeah, excellent.
Just
Excellent.
being in this room, hearing this music so fresh. For some of you who created that, it's just,
Oh, thank you.
I mean, that'll set your soul.
That's
You're
right.
definitely at ease, man.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you.
And that one, there's like a poetry, but it's got a bite to it. It's like almost like a rallying cry.
Oh yeah. You know,
Yeah.
it's something. There's like a soothingness quality, and especially the verses. It doesn't take it too hard, but then it picks up the bass in those choruses.
makes me want justice for some reason.
Yeah, there you go. You know, and It's funny because I think there's like multiple kind of ways to see that song. At least with the way I wrote it, like there could be like a spitefulness to see it, but there's also like the chorus is like, you got to keep on trying. You know, some people are gonna rest on their laurels, and other people are gonna keep pushing. And so I think it's nice to be able to, like we were talking about Bob Dylan, to take different meanings from the same song.
Yeah, you know who else is a big fan of Bob is Steve Jobs. My mom worked with him for 30 years.
Wow, I knew he was a big music fan in general.
Oh yeah,
because of his garage band and just the way he Apple, based on Apple records from the Beatles.
And he said in fact he was famous for saying don't rest on your laurels too. I think they both dated Joan Baez, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't
I did read about that, because
Yeah.
Joan was in Carmel Valley. She was in the Bay Area. Still is.
That's crazy.
So she was dating Steve Wozniak?
Jobs, I think.
Oh, Steve Jobs.
Yeah. So I mean, we are pretty lucky just to be at the epicenter here. You know, my mom's got a friend who got guitar lessons from Jerry Garcia when she was.
Oh,
she was
wow.
little,
No.
Really? That's crazy.
Because that's kind of where he got started. Was like up in Palo Alto.
Yeah.
That way.
In fact, Bob Weir, he took guitar lessons from Jerry. That's how they first met.
Ah, really?
Yeah. So it was either Bob Weir or you said your mom's or
Yeah, that's
you know.
right.
Your mom could have been the Grateful Dead.
They certainly were big fans, you know. And it's difficult sometimes to judge these things, right? Because in fact, I was talking to JD. I was like, who's more brilliant, Bob Dylan or John Lennon? And he didn't fall for the trap. He's like, no.
What did you say, JD?
What was your answer here? It was beautiful. It was eloquent. I was like, column A or column B? And he's like, what about over here?
Yeah.
Well, Bob Dylan was about telling the story about the times and about where Lennon was singing about love and happiness kinds of songs, right? I Want to Hold Your Hand, all those early Beatles songs were all kind of romantic songs, where Bob Dylan was writing about the kind of an anti-social agenda. That he was sticking, but he would tell it a story because he knew they were listening. The time they would be arresting Lenny Bruce for being, for saying a bad word on stage. Right?
Oh, I thought
So Bob Dylan,
Hurricane.
Yeah, that too.
Different guy.
Wrongly, Bob wrote a lot of songs about wrongly accused and wrongly.
that's Hurricane. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah.
Hurricane. I mean, well, he also Blind Willie Tell. And
What's the story there?
Well, he like his early records. There were some songs about African American subjects that were wrongly accused or wrongly
Par for the course.
murdered or lynched. He has some really powerful songs, and I think John Lennon was really influenced by his writing, and that kind of probably pushed him towards writing songs like "Give Peace a Chance."
Yeah, that's right. That's right, because he did kind of shift towards that. It almost feels like so I had we got a pretty exciting show coming up on April 4 down in LA with Tarif Michael, founding member of Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh wow!
And OG Arabian Prince is a founding member of NWA, and these guys both. I asked them. I said, this is so cool. We're going to do this show. How can we be helpful to you? How can this platform? And they both went to philanthropy. They basically said, we want to stop gun violence. We want to give an opportunity to folks that traditionally don't have it, kind of, democratize accessibility. So it makes sense. Like those guys, once they achieved a certain spot, or maybe Bob always had it. Maybe that was kind of always in his heart, I think.
I mean, there was always that thing because Joan was very active. She was an activist at heart, and I think she was always trying to push Bob to be more of a civil rights leader. But I think he had his way of just communicating what he wanted to do in song. And I mean, he played at the March on Washington. He was involved, but he didn't. He wasn't as much of an activist as Joan Baez was, but he. I think he always felt like wrongly pushed, and maybe JD, you can talk about that too, about you're the voice of our generation, and you're, the leader of the civil rights movement, and he was like, well, wait, hold on, I'm just writing songs,
Right. He didn't want to get right in the middle of the fight, so to speak. He wanted to stand there outside of the area, writing his music about what he thought in his own head. He didn't want to get in the middle of the fight, right, on the TV screen where, you're right or wrong.
Well, at some point, you just gotta honor, acknowledge the fact that you're in the ring, and that's a tricky thing to have to face because it's a big burden. It's an opportunity, really.
Well, all the people that are in the '60s are all kids that were were born in the 50s,
Yeah.
which mean their parents were raised in the 30s and 40s. They went through World War II. So this is a whole new generation that came out, and all of a sudden there's an explosion, which are now baby boomers.
Right.
Speaking of explosions, there's an opportunity to get your craft, to get your music out in a way like never before. Like if you look back in the 60s, there were 3 different channels that over 60% of Americans listened to.
Right.
A CBS, NBC, and maybe ABC.
Right, ABC, that's right.
But now it's like the space is changing. So like, how are you approaching these different channels, like Spotify or YouTube, or like, what are you doing? I mean, you've got a gift from God, man. Just to say it plainly, and I can tell you're a very humble individual, which is going to get you far.
Thank you.
Stick with JD, and then you'll really go, put rocket ship there. But so, how are you thinking about leveraging these burgeoning channels to get your craft out to more people?
Well, I've spent a lot of time thinking about that. And me and my mom, who manages my career, I mean, we are just always thinking about this because it's, at one hand, there is more opportunity for folks. And on the other hand, it is like really, really hard to, it's so saturated that people are posting all the time and just trying to get any engagement, which is sad just to think in those terms, but like, online is so difficult.
You're playing the rules that are on the court right now. So
I mean, right. Sorry, I didn't interrupt, but like a lot of people my age that are trying to make music, even like there's not even that focus of playing live because it's so important to get traction online and it takes a lot of time. So it's hard because I love playing live and I want to do that and I focus a lot of time on that, but I also you have to grow a fan base online and it can be really hard because I think people are looking for new talent and there is a way to get traction on there, but it can also be kind of just lead you down this rabbit hole of being disheartened that you don't find any immediate virality when you post,
Sure. It's like it can kind of shift the focus from where it should be.
And right. And it can shift away from creativity because then you start thinking about trends of what's popular and how you want to chase that success. But so I try to remind myself that it's about writing good songs and it's about getting it out there, which is important. But that's why I think it's really important still today that people in the industry that are looking for new talent and helping to foster that, whether that be through financial means or through mentorship or kind of guiding people that like me that are wanting to get to the next step. So in a lot of ways it's changed. In a lot of ways it's remained the same. That you need a little help with your friends.
Oh, nicely done. Nicely done. Yeah, Igor Krantic says, "Great song and wonderful melody."
Oh, thank you so much, Igor.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So what would you say is the next step?
For me, I really would like to find either management or a label that could help facilitate getting a tour and getting my next group of songs widely distributed. Of course it's easy to get things on Spotify now, but whether they are heard and it's still in a lot of ways controlled by people that can get them in avenues that are heard widely.
That's true.
Whether it's just Spotify editorial playlists and all these things, so I'm looking to get someone to help me get to that next step.
Excellent. Well, let's put our heads together because the hard part, which is coming up with just beautiful, authentic, incredible creations that you have. Like that's the foundation. All the other stuff is execution. So let's rock and roll. I mean, I do want to understand a little bit. I feel like we could talk for hours, man. This is awesome. So big thanks to both you guys for helping facilitate. But I'm curious in the last couple minutes that we got here, walk us through like your creative process and also what's your mindset when you're playing in front of a stage versus like going and laying some tracks in a recording studio or like practicing by yourself? Like those are 3 kind of very different spaces. How do you approach music in those different capacities?
I've done a lot of performing and so I think it's something that you develop because when I was 15 on The Voice, I felt comfortable on stage, but there's just a huge learning curve of being comfortable delivering performance, interacting with the audience. And so whenever there is an audience, I feel like I want to make eye contact and really kind of like deliver this song to them. Whereas
yeah.
if I'm in the studio, I'm laying it down, thinking like, you know, I'm delivering it for myself, I guess, you know, because it's sort of just you're in your own world in the studio, where that's part of why I love performing, is it becomes other people's experience, you know, and that's
like a gift you get to give.
Yeah, and like, you know, there's different ways to achieve that. A lot of performers keep it more in themselves, and like that's also a shared experience, you know, like there's plenty of, but then there's also very engaging and you know, personable moments. So I've learned to deliver performance authentically and communicate with people. And then as far as your first question, as how the creative process of writing a song, I mean, a lot of it is about, we were talking about how songwriting and music in general is a part of everyone else's life, and it's important to just live and experience things and take that in as just a viewer of life, and conversations, books that I read, documentaries, you know, just like little things like advertisements on that. You know, I've anything that's interesting, I'll make notes of
that, because it's like you're an aggregator of things that inspire you, and then it gets put through this prism, which is yourself, your soul, your creativity, and then when it comes out on the other side, we get these you know, bits of brilliance like you just shared with us today. A couple of them, I almost think it's like the cover of Pink Floyd, you know,
right.
The
prism.
So Jimmy, hop in here. You got all sorts of amazing
I don't want to take up any. I have stories, but I don't want to. We only have a short period of time.
Hook us up. I know you got.
I'll be saying, let's have Anthony do another song.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. Cool.
That's good.
But I do want to leave. I want to leave it like maybe a couple minutes, a minute or two for you to share us some fun stuff, because you're a local legend yourself. But
thank you.
But I appreciate that.
Yes. Go ahead.
yeah, sure. Yeah.
There you go.
This song. Yeah, it's great to talk with JD about music history too, because we talk all day about, you know. Well, I guess I'll the last song I'll play is another one that's gonna be on a new record. Yeah, let's get that guitar mic over here. Well, I wrote this song about I live in Alameda, viewing the city lights, and inspired by San Francisco is a great place to be. And then there's the expression "seeing life through rose-colored glasses," and I kind of spun that around to "sugar on your shades." So, that's the inspiration behind the song.
That.
Sugar on your shades.
Thanks.
Fall came around like a I was hoping I could see you again. The nights getting long, the days shorter. Baby, it's the way you've been in my head. Looking at you across the water. City lights never shine so bright. It's the sugar on your shades, baby, it's the way you're loving on me night and day. You ask me what to wear, I say I don't know. It's all about the way that the dress and you. You call my name, whisper in my ear. I love you all night till the song ends. Take your time, oh, take it all. We did it once, we could do it some more. Broke in the city, you were sitting pretty, sipping on your Chardonnay. It's the sugar on your shades, baby, it's the way you love it on the night and day. Oh, you call me in a taxi, you're feeling low. Say you need a little time when the traffic slows. Oh, you're working 2 jobs, I'm working 3 things. Won't you meet me in the middle where the 2 halves meet? Maybe it's the city, or maybe it's your head. Oh, maybe it's the things I don't say again. It's the sugar on your shades, baby, it's the way you love it on the night and day. Oh yes, I want to wear. I say I don't know. Oh, it's all about the way that the dressing goes. You call my name, whisper in my ear. I love you all night till the song ends. And take your time, oh, take it all. We did it once, we could do it some more. Cold nights strutting, part-time loving, got me in a kind of way. Broke in the city, you were sitting pretty, sipping on your Chardonnay. It's the sugar on your shades, baby, it's the way you're loving on me night and day.
Wow. Unbelievable.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Right,
Wow.
man.
I feel like this is our version of NPR's Tiny
Yeah,
Desk.
I love it. So one day I'll
Yeah.
play one. One day.
That's right. It's just around the corner, man.
Wow.
We're just a stepping stone to hopefully the moon, man.
Yeah.
I see a stepping stone made of jade.
Hey, there we
That's
go.
right, man. That's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Oh, well, it's a long way to the top if you want to rock and roll.
That's
As
right.
Casey said.
That's right. That's beautiful.
Yeah, wow.
So, guys, in the last minute or so here, oh, man, there's just not enough time, and we got to have you guys back. I think that's the answer here.
We'd love it.
You know, we always like to feature the good local humans, and you certainly fit the bill. Thank you for sharing your craft.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mama Bear, for
Yeah.
being such a wonderful host.
Oh man, what a great experience.
Oh,
Thank you so
JD.
much.
Well, thanks for
Yeah, it was so wonderful, man.
Um,
It was.
JD, what was as we wrap, like when you first heard the tunes, like what was your feedback? You're like, it feels your music has the ability to like transport. It's really special.
Yeah.
Thank you
It
so much.
really, it's impactful. I mean, the songs he sings, the way he sings his songs, and the empathy, and everything's clear with the music.
That's how you'll be able to cut above the noise, man. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
That's exactly.
Thank you.
Maybe is there like a website or something we can?
Yeah, AnthonyArya.com. My last name Arya.
Okay.
And I'll come and service all the music.
And we're also on Spotify, right?
That's right. Yeah.
Probably on LinkedIn, I would imagine too.
Yeah, I am on LinkedIn. Less, I guess, my music, but you can find me on there.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha.
My major in political science and computer science is listed on there.
Beautiful.
At Scamford, I might add.
Oh, that's right. Sharp cookie over here. Yeah, he's the full package.
Oh,
So watch out, ladies, if he's single.
That's right. Give me a call.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. That's Pirate Cat Radio, Silicon Zombies, Brainwaves, 92.9 FM, Los Gatos, and KMRT 101.9 FM in Santa Cruz. Until next time, be good to yourselves and be good to each other. Anthony Aria, thank you so much for hopping on.
Thank you.
Jimmy, you're the best, brother. Big hug to you guys. All right. Thanks, everybody. Cheers.
opportunity.